Confidence is magnetic. It has nothing to do with age, clothing size, or whether you've got wrinkles or not. Confidence is that unshakable energy a woman carries when she knows who she is and doesn't waste her time comparing herself to anyone else. You can walk into a room full of younger women dressed differently, women who maybe fit the world's current beauty trend and still command the room, not by competing, but by owning yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy, and when you're young, it's easy to fall into that trap. You look left and right, asking, am I as pretty as her? Do I look younger than her? Is my body like hers? But with age, now, when wisdom starts to settle in, you realize the comparison game has no finish line. There will always be someone taller, slimmer, flashier, younger. But here's the truth. Now, there will never be another you. Confidence means you finally stop chasing the race you never signed up for. Think about the women you've admired most in your life. Chances are, it wasn't just their looks that caught your attention. It was the way they carried themselves, the way they walked into a room without shrinking. It was the way they spoke with certainty, the way they didn't apologize for existing. That kind of confidence draws people in because it tells the world, I know my worth, and I don't need your permission to shine. Here's the beautiful part: confidence is built, not bought. You don't find it in a store or a mirror. You build it every time you choose to honor your own voice over outside noise. You build it when you stop apologizing for your age, your laugh lines, or your experiences. You build it when you stop saying, I'm too old for this, and start saying, I'm just right for this. That shift makes people see you differently. Now, because you see yourself differently first. There's a story I love about an older woman who showed up to a family gathering wearing a bright red dress. Someone joked, wow, aren't you a little old for that? And she smiled and said, I'm old enough to wear whatever I want. That's confidence. And guess what? No one in that room remembered the critic. They remembered her. They remembered the sparkle in her eye, the boldness of her presence. Confidence doesn't erase age. It redefines it. The trap of comparison only grows heavier with time if you let it. Social media, magazines, even casual conversations, they can whisper that your value decreases with every year. But confidence shuts that voice down. Confidence says, my age is not a countdown, it's a crown. And when you wear that crown with grace, you radiate an attractiveness no filter can touch. What's so powerful about confidence is that it gives permission to others too. When younger women see an older woman living fully, unapologetically, and without comparison, it sends a message. Beauty doesn't end. It evolves. And suddenly, she becomes not just attractive, but inspiring. People want to be near her, not because of her age, but because of her energy. The truth is, confidence is not about pretending you don't have insecurities. It's about not letting them run your life. It's about acknowledging, yes, I have lines on my face. Yes, my body has changed, but I'm still here. I'm still valuable. I still matter. That inner stance radiates outward. People don't just see your face, they feel your presence. And presence always outshines appearance. So when it comes to being an attractive woman in older age, don't waste another day measuring yourself against someone else's timeline. Comparison will drain you. Confidence will define you. And confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about standing tall in who you are without needing to prove it to anyone. Because when a woman reaches that point, she doesn't just enter a room, she elevates it. There is something incredibly magnetic about wisdom. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it doesn't demand attention. Wisdom is the kind of attractiveness that draws people in quietly, almost effortlessly. When you've lived long enough, when you've walked through heartbreak, triumph, loss, and growth, you start to see life differently. And that perspective becomes a light others want to stand close to. When you're younger, life often feels like a series of extremes. Everything is urgent, everything is dramatic, and every mistake feels permanent. But with time comes the realization that storms do pass, heartbreak does heal, and even failures can turn into blessings in disguise. That calm steadiness is what makes wisdom so beautiful. People are naturally drawn to those who carry a sense of perspective, because being around them feels safe, reassuring, and grounding. Think about sitting with a woman who has lived through decades of change. She doesn't panic at small problems because she knows most of them are temporary. She doesn't get swept up in gossip or drama because she's learned it's wasted energy. Instead, she sees the bigger picture. Now, she knows which battles are worth fighting and which are worth letting go. That discernment is more attractive than any wrinkle, free face, or flawless outfit because it reflects depth. Now, it reflects someone who understands what really matters. Wisdom gives you a presence that feels like an anchor. People come to you not because you're perfect now, but because you've seen enough to know perfection doesn't exist. You become attractive not by knowing all the answers, but by asking better questions. What can we learn here? How can we grow from this? Is this worth my peace? That ability to reframe situations with calm perspective makes others want to lean in and listen. Now, one of the most appealing things about wisdom is that it makes you less reactive. You don't feel the need to prove yourself in every conversation. You don't feel the urge to win every argument. You've already learned that winning the moment can mean losing the relationship. That kind of restraint, born from experience, makes you magnetic. now, because people know you're not guided by ego, you're guided by clarity. There's a story about a grandmother who watched her children and grandchildren stress over daily problems, traffic, bills, social media, small disagreements. She simply smiled and said, "In 5 years, will it matter?" That question cut through the noise. That's wisdom. It doesn't dismiss problems, but it reminds us to hold them with perspective, and people love being around someone who helps them breathe easier. Another thing about wisdom is that it creates grace. With time, you learn to give people the benefit of the doubt. You stop taking everything so personally. You understand that hurt people, and sometimes someone's sharp words say more about their pain than about your value. That compassion is deeply attractive because it shows maturity. People are drawn to someone who can respond with grace instead of retaliation. Wisdom also makes you more grateful. You stop chasing every shiny thing and start cherishing the simple ones. Quiet mornings, laughter with friends, holding hands, good health. Gratitude softens the heart, and that softness radiates outward. A woman who has perspective shines with a kind of joy that money, beauty products, or age cannot manufacture. It's authentic. The truth is, wisdom and perspective turn older age into an advantage, not a disadvantage. Instead of losing value with time, you gain it. Your experiences, both good and bad, become the very things that make you attractive. You've walked roads others haven't yet walked, and that makes your presence valuable. So when you think about being attractive in older age, remember this: youth can impress people, but wisdom impacts them. And impact always lasts longer than impression. Kindness never goes out of style. In fact, the older we get, the more it becomes the most attractive quality we can carry. Think about the people you love being around. Now, it's not just because they look good or sound smart, it's because they make you feel good. That's the power of kindness. It creates an energy people can't resist. As the years pass, you realize something important: people rarely remember exactly what you said or what you wore, but they always remember how you made them feel. And a woman who chooses kindness over criticism, compassion over judgment, becomes unforgettable. She leaves a mark far deeper than surface beauty ever could. Kindness doesn't mean being a pushover. Now, it doesn't mean agreeing with everyone or staying quiet when something is wrong. It means approaching people with a spirit of grace instead of hostility. It means choosing to understand rather than to attack. That quality is magnetic because the world is already full of sharp edges. When someone carries warmth instead, it stands out. Imagine walking into a room. One person is critical, pointing out flaws in others, making jokes at someone's expense. Another person, just across the room, is lifting others up, noticing the good. Now, offering encouragement. Which one do you want to be around? That's the difference kindness makes. It draws people in because deep down, every person is hungry for a safe, affirming space. Kindness in older age becomes even more powerful because it's seasoned. It's no longer just politeness or habit. It's wisdom turned into compassion. You've lived enough life to know that everyone carries battles you can't see. So instead of quick judgment, you extend empathy. Instead of meeting harshness with more harshness, you break the cycle with gentleness. That doesn't just make you attractive, it makes you unforgettable. One of the most attractive sights in the world is an older woman who radiates kindness without even trying. You can see it in her eyes, the way she listens without rushing, the way she smiles without judgment, the way she makes space for others to feel valued. That is beauty that no wrinkle, no gray hair, no number of candles on a cake can erase. Now, kindness also transforms relationships. It makes marriages last longer, friendships run deeper, and families feel safer. When you choose kind words in an argument instead of sharp ones, you create healing instead of scars. When you choose encouragement over criticism, you plant seeds of confidence in others that may grow for years. That ripple effect makes you magnetic not just to the people close to you, but to everyone who crosses your path. There's a story of a woman in her 70s who volunteered weekly at a local school. She didn't have fancy clothes, and she never tried to look younger. But she listened to the kids, encouraged them, and reminded them they mattered. Decades later, those kids, now adults, still spoke of her as one of the most beautiful women they had ever known. Why? Because her kindness left fingerprints on their lives. Kindness radiates because it doesn't stop with you. It multiplies. The smile you give to someone who feels unseen might be the spark that gets them through their day. The gentle words you choose instead of harsh ones may be the difference between someone giving up and someone holding on. That's how powerful kindness is. The truth is, the kindest women are often the most attractive women in older age. Not because they fit society's fleeting standard of beauty, but because they rise above it. They remind us all that beauty isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about the warmth you bring into every space you enter. So when you think about what will make you magnetic as the years go by, remember this: kindness doesn't fade, it compounds. And when you choose to live with it, you become the kind of woman people never forget. Now, there is something incredibly attractive about someone who carries calm into a room. You can feel it before they even speak. The energy shifts, the tension drops. Emotional stability is one of those qualities that becomes more beautiful with age because it shows maturity, strength, and self-awareness. It's the opposite of chaos. And it's the kind of presence people crave in a world that already feels noisy and unstable. When you're younger, emotions often run the show. Anger flares up, jealousy sneaks in, fear drives decisions. It's natural, but it can also be exhausting. Over time, though, you learn that reacting to everything isn't strength, it's weakness disguised as passion. True strength is being able to stay centered when everything around you feels unsteady. That's what makes emotional stability so magnetic. Now, people are drawn to women who don't lose themselves in every storm. They admire the ones who can listen without exploding, who can pause before lashing out. Now, who can respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. That steadiness feels safe, and safety in relationships is deeply attractive. It's what makes people want to open up, share their hearts, and trust that they won't be torn apart for being human. Emotional stability doesn't mean you never feel strong emotions. It doesn't mean you never cry, never get frustrated, or never raise your voice. It means you've learned how to manage those feelings instead of letting them manage you. It means you can recognize, I'm angry now, but I don't have to attack. I'm sad, but I don't have to shut down. I'm hurt now, but I don't have to hurt you back. That ability is magnetic because it shows a level of self-control that people respect and admire. Imagine two women in a disagreement. One immediately raises her voice, interrupts, throws sharp words like weapons. The other stays calm, listens, waits, and responds clearly without trying to destroy the other person. Which one leaves the deeper impression? Which one feels more attractive? Emotional chaos may get attention for a moment, but stability earns respect for a lifetime. One of the most beautiful parts of emotional stability is that it frees you from unnecessary drama. You don't need to chase gossip. You don't need to fight every battle now. You don't need to prove yourself in every situation. You've lived long enough to know that most of the noise isn't worth your peace. And that choice to protect your peace is what makes people want to be around you. Because in your calm, they find calm too. Now, I once heard a story about a woman who was known in her community for being the safe place. Whenever neighbors, friends, or even strangers faced trouble, they came to her. Why? Not because she had all the answers, but because she carried stability. Her presence was steady, her words were thoughtful, and her reactions were never reckless. People felt lighter just by being with her. That's the kind of beauty you can't buy. It's cultivated through years of growth. Emotional stability also makes relationships last. In a marriage, non-friendships, even at work, the stable presence is the one people lean on. You're not exhausting to be around. You're not unpredictable. Instead, you're grounding. That quality makes people feel safe to love you deeply because they know you won't weaponize your emotions against them. The truth is, emotional stability might not be as flashy as confidence or as instantly noticeable as kindness, but it runs deeper. It's the quiet strength that holds everything together. And as you get older, that strength only becomes more attractive because it proves you've mastered not just life's challenges, but yourself. So when it comes to lasting beauty, don't underestimate the power of a steady spirit. Emotions are human, but stability is rare. And when a woman can carry both, feeling deeply without being ruled by those feelings, she becomes the kind of presence everyone wants to be around. That's not just attractive, that's unforgettable. Now, one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can carry in older age is a sense of passion and curiosity. It's the spark in the eyes, the willingness to keep learning now, and the refusal to let life shrink down into routines and repetitions. People are drawn to those who stay alive to possibility now, who see life not as something winding down, but as something still unfolding. That spark is contagious, and it's one of the most attractive things you can ever show. Passion doesn't mean you need to have a grand career or world-changing mission. It can be as simple as a love for your garden, a fascination with books, a commitment to painting, traveling, volunteering, or spending time with family. It's the energy you bring to what you care about. People notice when you light up talking about something. That glow is irresistible because it shows you haven't let the years dull your enthusiasm. Curiosity works the same way. A curious woman doesn't stop asking questions just because she's older. Now she doesn't stop wondering, exploring, or discovering. She's the one who still wants to try a new recipe, learn a new skill, or visit a place she's never been. That open-mindedness is magnetic because it makes her feel vibrant. Youth isn't about the number of years, it's about the state of your spirit, and curiosity keeps the spirit young. Think about the difference between someone who closes themselves off, saying things like, "I'm too old for that," or "That's not for me," and someone who says, "Why not? Now, let's try." Which one feels more attractive to be around? The second one every time, because their passion and curiosity remind you that life is still full of opportunities, no matter your age. There's a story about an 80-year-old woman who enrolled in college classes because she had always dreamed of getting a degree. People around her asked, "Why now?" And she said, "Now, because I'm still alive and I still want to learn." That's what passion looks like. It's not about impressing others, it's about staying true to the fire inside you. And that kind of fire is beautiful. Passion and curiosity also create connection. When you're genuinely excited about life, people want to be around you. They want to hear your stories, Now, share your interests and catch some of your enthusiasm. You become the kind of person who brings energy into a room rather than draining it. And that energy is magnetic. Now, what's amazing is that passion and curiosity don't just make you attractive to others, they make you more alive to yourself. They fight off bitterness. They keep you from getting stuck in regret. They give you something to wake up for, something to talk about, something to keep moving toward. And in that forward motion is what makes aging feel less like decline and more like growth. Even small acts of curiosity can keep your spirit vibrant. Picking up a new hobby, reading about a culture you've never studied, learning a new language, joining a community group, or even just trying food you've never had before. Now, those things remind you that life isn't finished, it's unfolding. And when people see that in you, they don't just admire it, they're inspired by it. Passion and curiosity are proof that beauty isn't static. Beauty isn't about preserving what once was, it's about continuing to evolve. And when you keep evolving, now, when you stay curious and passionate, you radiate something far more attractive than looks. You radiate life. So if you want to be magnetic in older age, don't let your world get smaller. Keep it wide. Stay curious. Nurture passion. Because people aren't just drawn to how you look, they're drawn to how alive you are. And when you carry that spark, no number can dim your light. At some point, every woman realizes that the mirror only tells part of the story. Looks fade, hair grays, skin changes, but the real beauty, the kind that lasts, is found in connection. Now, what makes someone truly magnetic in older age isn't how polished their appearance is, but how deeply they connect with others. It's the laughter shared around a table. Now, the conversations that leave someone feeling lighter, the ability to be present and real in a way that makes people feel seen. That's what draws people in. Connection is the secret ingredient that outshines appearance. You can meet someone who looks flawless but leaves you feeling empty. Now, then you meet someone else whose face shows every year they've lived, but their presence fills you up. You walk away thinking, now, that person is beautiful, and it has nothing to do with their reflection. It's about the bond they created in just a few moments. When you reach older age, now you realize that what people remember isn't the clothes you wore or the makeup you applied. It's the way you made them feel when you were with them. Did you listen? Did you laugh with them? Now, did you give your full attention instead of half, listening while checking your phone? Those small moments of connection leave a much deeper impression than appearances ever could. Now, think about the people in your life you find attractive, not in a superficial way, but in a way that pulls you toward them. Chances are it's because they give you their time, their energy, now, and their presence. They don't make you feel like you're competing with their schedule or their ego. They make you feel like you matter. That kind of connection is rare, and when you find it, it's magnetic. There's a story of a grandmother who hosted Sunday dinners every week. She didn't have the fanciest house or the most expensive food, but everyone loved being there. Why? Because she created connection. She asked questions. She laughed at the little things. She made people feel like family even if they weren't. Years later, no one remembered what she wore or how her hair looked, but they all remembered how it felt to sit at her table. That's beauty. That's attraction at its deepest level. Connection also makes you stand out in a world where so many people feel invisible. When you look someone in the eyes, when you listen without rushing, when you remember their stories and follow up, you make them feel valued. And people are always drawn to the ones who make them feel valued. That presence is far more attractive than any surface detail. The amazing part is that connection doesn't require perfection. You don't need perfect skin, a perfect body, or perfect words. What people crave isn't perfection, it's authenticity. Now, they're drawn to the women who are real, who can laugh at themselves, who admit when they don't have all the answers, but who are still fully present in the moment. That authenticity creates bonds that outshine any physical beauty. Connection beyond appearance also feeds your own soul. When you invest in others, when you choose to love, serve, now, and build relationships, you don't just become more attractive to them, you feel more alive yourself. Now, life stops being about how you look in the mirror and starts being about the joy created in the lives of others, and that joy reflects back on you in a way no cream, no surgery, no filter ever could. So, when we talk about being an attractive woman in older age, we can't end without talking about this. Because the truth is, connection is the greatest beauty secret of all. Now, it never fades, never wrinkles, never goes out of style. People may forget what you looked like, but they will never forget how deeply you connected with them. And that is the kind of attractiveness that outlives everything else. Now, beauty in older age isn't about resisting time, it's about embracing it. It's not about chasing youth, but about stepping fully into the kind of attractiveness that time can't touch. Now, confidence that outshines comparison, wisdom that brings perspective, kindness that radiates warmth, stability that calms storms, passion that keeps your spirit alive. Now, and connection that goes deeper than appearance. These are the marks of a truly magnetic woman. The truth is, every wrinkle carries a story. Every gray hair reflects resilience. And every year adds a depth that makes your presence more valuable, not less. Society may whisper that beauty fades, but real beauty, the kind that leaves an imprint, only grows stronger with age. now. So if you want to be attractive in your older years, don't cling to the past. Don't chase what was. Instead, lean into what is. Let your confidence shine. Let your kindness spread. Let your wisdom guide. Let your stability ground. Let your passion inspire. And let your connections define you. That's not just how you stay attractive, it's how you become unforgettable now. Because in the end, the most beautiful women in the world are not the ones who try to look younger. They're the ones who wear their years with grace, their hearts with openness, and their lives with joy. And that's the kind of beauty that never ever fades.